Imagine you're living in a quiet village in the Philippines. Nothing unusual. You wake up, eat, work, go home. Then you sleep. Pretty normal, right? Well, one night, people start noticing something strange. Someone or something is visiting the village after dark. At first, nobody knows what it is. Then people start getting sick. Some villagers wake up feeling like they can't breathe. Others swear they hear something crawling across their rooftops. And then, someone finally sees it. A woman flying through the night. Now, if you see a woman flying past your window at 2 a.m., you have two choices. You can investigate, or you can do what any intelligent person would do. Pull the blanket over your head and pretend you don't exist. But this wasn't just a woman with a very unusual hobby. According to Filipino folklore, this creature was called the Manananggal, and the name comes from a word meaning to separate. And trust me, the name makes perfect sense, because the Manananggal supposedly has one of the most disturbing abilities in folklore. At night, she can separate the upper half of her body from the lower half. Yes, her torso literally leaves her legs behind and flies away, because apparently being a normal monster wasn't terrifying enough. She needed to become a flying nightmare. The creature is often described with enormous bat-like wings, long claws, sharp teeth, and a terrifying appetite, while the lower half of her body stays hidden somewhere safe. Her upper body flies through the darkness, searching for victims. And according to some legends, pregnant women were especially vulnerable. The creature would approach houses silently at night, looking for someone who was asleep and completely unaware. And that's where the story gets really creepy. Because villagers began noticing a pattern. People weren't getting sick randomly. The attacks always seemed to happen after dark. And before sunrise, the creature was gone. Nobody knew where it came from. Nobody knew where it went. Until one night, a villager noticed something strange, something that could finally reveal the creature's secret. The Manananggal had one major weakness. If you could find the lower half of its body while the creature was away, you might be able to stop it. But there was one tiny problem. You had to find it before sunrise. Because when the first light appeared, the Manananggal would return. And if she couldn't find her body, she might never be able to become human again. So the villagers had a plan. They would wait until the creature flew away. Then they would search the darkness, looking for the one thing that could finally destroy it. But they didn't know. The Manananggal was already watching them. The villagers waited. The village became completely silent. No one wanted to go outside. Because somewhere above them, the Manananggal was flying. But the villagers had a plan. They waited until the creature disappeared into the darkness. Then they grabbed their lanterns and started searching. Imagine walking through a dark Filipino village at night, knowing there's a flying monster somewhere above you, and your job is to find its legs. Honestly, whoever volunteered for that mission had either incredible courage or absolutely no survival instincts. But eventually, they found something. Hidden behind an old house was a pair of human legs, standing completely still. The villagers froze. They knew exactly what they had found. The Manananggal's lower body. But there was a problem. The creature's upper half was still flying somewhere in the night, and sooner or later, it would come back. So the villagers had to act fast. According to the legend, there were several ways to stop the creature. Some stories say people would cover the lower body with salt. Others mention ash or crushed garlic. The idea was simple. When the Manananggal returned, it wouldn't be able to reconnect with its body, and without the lower half, the creature would be trapped. But then, the villagers heard something. Wings flapping somewhere above them. Everyone looked up. Nothing, just darkness. Then, a shadow moved across the moon. The Manananggal was coming back. The villagers ran. They grabbed the lower body and tried to hide it, but the creature was getting closer. Flap, flap, flap. Suddenly, the Manananggal landed on the roof. The entire village went silent. The creature slowly looked around. It knew something was wrong. Its body was missing. And now, it was angry. The villagers watched from their hiding places as the creature searched desperately. It flew from house to house, roof to roof, looking for its missing body, but the villagers had already hidden it. Then the sun began to rise. The darkness slowly disappeared. The Manananggal became desperate, because it knew what was coming. Daylight. The creature flew faster, searching everywhere, but it couldn't find its body. Then, the first ray of sunlight appeared. And according to the legend, the creature began to weaken. It couldn't stay in the sky anymore. It desperately searched for somewhere to hide. But it was too late. The sun was rising, and the villagers finally understood something. The Manananggal wasn't invincible. It was terrifying. It was powerful, but it had one weakness. Time. Every night, it had to return before sunrise. But here's where the story gets even stranger. There was another way to recognize a Manananggal. And it didn't involve seeing her fly. It involved someone you might already know. Someone living right next door. And this is where the legend gets really creepy. Because according to some stories, the Manananggal doesn't always look like a monster. During the day, she can look completely human. She can walk through your village, talk to your neighbors, buy food, smile at you. And then, at night, she becomes something else. That's what made the legend so terrifying. Because you couldn't simply look at someone and know they were a monster. The creature could be hiding in plain sight, and villagers began developing their own ways to identify one. Some believed that a person who behaved strangely during the day might secretly be a Manananggal. Others believed the creature would avoid certain foods or react strangely to garlic. But the most terrifying part of the legend wasn't actually the creature itself. It was the idea that the monster could be someone you already trusted. Your neighbor, someone you greeted every morning, someone you had probably walked past hundreds of times, and nobody would know. Until one night, you looked out your window and saw something flying above the rooftops. Now obviously, there is no scientific evidence that a woman can literally separate her body and fly around with bat wings. But the legend may have come from something much more human. The Philippines has a long history of folklore surrounding the night, disease, and unexplained deaths. Before modern medicine could explain certain illnesses, people needed answers. And stories like the Manananggal gave those fears a face. A monster that appeared at night. A monster that attacked sleeping people. A monster that disappeared before sunrise. But whether you believe the legend or not, there's something strangely fascinating about it. Because the Manananggal isn't just a creature hiding in a forest. The scariest version of the story is the one where the monster is hiding among us. So imagine this. You're lying in bed tonight. It's completely dark. You hear something outside your window. You tell yourself it's probably a bird. Then you hear it again. Flap. You slowly sit up. Another sound. Flap. You look toward the window, and for just 1 second, you see a shadow pass across the moon. You don't move. You don't breathe. Then you hear something land on your roof. And suddenly, you remember the old Filipino legend, the Manananggal, a creature that separates its body, flies into the darkness, and returns before sunrise. But there's one question left. If the legend were true, would you recognize the monster during the day, or would you only discover the truth after it was already too late?